What's up, guys? It is that Panda guy, and I'm here again with another video. And today we're going to be looking at my extremely interesting island raid. Before I pop off in this video, though, I do want to quickly mention that just to give you guys a warning, I don't know how often I'll be uploading. Whatever the case, I've been a lot busier lately. I've also been working out a lot more, so it has been taking a lot more of my time that I maybe would be using to edit normally and stuff. So yeah, I do hope you guys understand. I still am trying to edit. I have been using a new editor, which is on my PC, which has kind of made me more efficient, I would say. So you guys let me know about that. I don't know, maybe if you guys prefer this editing style, and even if you don't, honestly, you still might stick to it just because it is kind of easier for me to run through and all that. But let's talk about the island raid that I was in. This was an extremely intense island raid. The situation was crazy. This is the second half of the island raid. I did find it actually to be the better part. So it is going to be the part that I upload first. I'm going to upload the other section of Island Raid, which was the first half, which wasn't as intense. Next, I'll probably upload it tomorrow or whatever, the day after this video. But that being said, let's actually just talk about this. So we went into this island raid, and we had picked an ally in the corner of the map. And to be honest, we kind of overestimated their ability, if I'm going to be completely honest. So they ended up picking a fight with, honestly, a team that we didn't need to fight. And then they ended up losing to that team. So we kind of got stuck into a 3v1 up mid, which, to be fair, right? We kind of did want the smoke. I kind of allied in a way that I expected us to lose. So it was kind of surprising when we did win, to be honest. And that's a spoiler, but we did win this. It was extremely close, though. It was freaking intense. But we did have other alliances that kind of get steamrolled, right? I will show you guys the map, or maybe I have already. But Moppy, what ended up happening is they built to the so they were at the bottom left corner of the map. They had built up top towards the top team, taken their six. They had bounced up towards the other seven that was across the map, and it built downwards on us. Which, I mean, I think I showed you guys an outline of the map. But we basically built in a way that would have intercepted these guys because we were building towards their allies when we realized that these guys were coming at us. I had built in a way as to intercept their towers and make it very uncomfortable to build around us and, connect to other towers because obviously there's a day before the miasma clears on middle. So basically they would have to build off to the left side and build multiple towers down, which I knew they didn't have the cement to do, to basically connect into our, other towers and start fighting us there. So we were able to restrict how many towers we had to defend. So one to these guys, and then we could focus a lot of our energy on the other guys, which was extremely hard. But basically, what I was trying to explain earlier was we had built upwards towards the other teams on the top, or sorry, Moppy had built on the top side, right? And they had kind of made enemies out of the other teams, and these teams were more vital than expected. To be fair, I wouldn't act like they, completely crippled Moppy or were doing the hard lifting here, as we did a lot of the fighting. We had some crazy trades on a lot of ends here. Though I will say we were one team, we only had so many fillers. But basically, these teams had kept repeatedly building because they were just, they kind of got upset, I guess, that Moppy had come and kind of cut them off and whatnot. And this had allowed us to get a little bit more breather room that we needed because honestly, I don't know if you guys can tell, but we're getting a lot of pressure. I can't record every single fight that's going on. We're consistently holding three fronts at the same time during this battlefield. You know what I mean? And this is extremely intense. We just aren't able to properly fill everything. Even if we have the fighters, we can't fill everything, right? We can't fill this range tower properly because look how many bases we have over here. We have people fighting on all three fronts. Our fillers are spread out. They only have so many troops. No matter how good or bad we're trading here, there's only so much we can do. I also don't know if you guys noticed from the trades on the Moppy Tower, but we are trading positive on all these trades. But a lot of the positive trades is because of the AoE we're milking off these guys. And to be fair, it's also the reason the rally's not doing as good. But what we're trying to do and accomplish here is, I don't know if you guys noticed, I was sending out one March, for example, to bait in a lot of their guys to come and attack it. If they came and attacked it, they would constantly take AoE hits. And this is like repeatedly draining their top fighters, right? It kind of becomes a game of who burns out faster, our fillers or their top fighters. And once their top fighters burn out, we're able to just swarm out these rallies. We're able to, send, our little one marches under the tower, which, a rider on a rider rally generally trades pretty well from what I've experienced. That's why I kind of use the one march strategy. But yeah, I mean, you literally see here we're fighting on a lot of fronts. I did show you guys the tower reports from the I forget which, I think it was Wolf, right? They had swarmed our tower twice. I don't know if you guys saw that, like 5 to 50 million report. It was absolutely disgusting. But yeah, we honestly had planned to give up on Wolf's side. We had planned to give up that front and demolish the towers because I was actually planning to build towers down towards the seven and cut off Amra, whatever, however else you want to pronounce that. But I eventually decided it wasn't worth giving Wolf too much wiggle room towards our seven because this would have put us at a really bad position. And frankly, right, even if Wolf had taken the six, as long as we could stay connected to the six and kind of restrict our tower, to that one, we could instantly cut them off at any time since they were building directly through the six, trying to build towards our seven. So it did make it efficient for us, which you will see later. We did manage to actually cut them off and zero a bunch of bases. But the issue we actually had was we had sent multiple rallies of their seven and we hadn't taken it. And we were significantly stronger with our rider rally compared to any garrison they had. And I say our rider rally because frankly, Big D is our, strongest range garrison right here. He's got our best garrison. So we always have him in towers. And Saint's usually our main rally captain whenever this is happening. A lot of our stronger guys were in rallies here. And I mean, we're kind of trying to rally this, but we don't have enough field control because a lot of our field fighters are spread out. We don't have enough fillers because a lot of our fillers are spread out on all three fronts. So we're not able to keep these rallies full because you see this rally is about to die. So we're really struggling here and we don't have enough manpower to focus on one front because these guys are keeping in nonstop, never ending barrage on us. And I honestly give them props because although Moppy was trading probably the best here, you know, um, the other teams were trading really bad in comparison, right? I don't know if you guys have seen the reports, right? That Wolf was taking and that Amra was taking. Like Amra was defending their towers, like their lives were on the line, which to a degree it was, but they were getting like absolutely hammered on the towers and they just kept defending, they kept attacking, they kept trying to place towers, and they were just willing to kind of go through the literal just deaths of hell to drag us down with them. And I just give it to them because no matter how insane their hold was, they did like hold with their lives on the line, and they kind of took extremely bad trades a lot of the time just to try to make sure their allies could succeed in this kind of push, right? It just was honestly a freaking fabulous fight. I honestly give props to all the teams because honestly, I did not expect these teams to all show up as much as they did. Um, this felt like a freaking struggle, multi-hour, like absolute struggle. We were not having a fun time here. It was great though. I love intense fights like these. This is why we allied in a way that was super hard for us because originally we only took one ally. We did end up picking up kind of two allies. We had picked up TROU, which we had ally before, and we realized that they didn't take an ally, and we were like, okay, we might as well, pick these guys up. And there was Chev, who had gotten cut off by the seven, and I think they just wanted their get back on Moppy. So they also had built towers, which was extremely important in all this. By the way, guys, I do want to mention they had drawn attention away from us, even if it was temporary for 10 minutes. That was enough to gather our manpower to one or the other side because they had drawn away the two rally captains that Moppy had because they had TRU had drawn one of them away to start rallying their tower, but we weren't able to really do much because they still had another mega whale over here. But then once Chev had started building, we were set. We were literally set. And by the way, guys, I hope you guys can realize how extreme and intense this fight was throughout the whole period. I can't show everything. I can't express how intense it was because obviously I have limited footage I can show you guys, right? There's only so much I can show you. Because I mean, I can only record one tower fight at a time while we're getting rallied on three fronts. You get what I'm saying? But either way, this was still really good. I mean, I just had a lot of fun. And although you might think it ended there, I want you guys to understand what happened. We basically burn Moppy's tower as they go to focus on the other side, and we go and we start attacking down here. We start pushing towards the seven. And Moppy, what they do is they abandon this front. They demolish all the towers over here, right? We raided their six, right? We raided the seven. We put our helipad next to their six. We field controlled it so that our allies, TROU, could rally the six. Moppy couldn't reinforce, and then all of Moppy would get cut off towards up mid, right? This would also allow Chev to build up and just connect and cut them off. And this would give us so much free wiggle room. And it did work out. So that was amazing. But then what Moppy does is they build directly towards the other seven because you got to realize they had built all the way up towards the top side of the map, towards the other seven on the top left side, but they built towards the bottom left side seven instead, which is the one that we were building towards. So then they try again to push us, which you will see.
And I do want to say this attempt was extremely good, by the way, because honestly, we were not in a position for us to defend this properly. We were extremely drained. We had been fighting for hours. A lot of our guys had logged off.
And frankly, although I did show you guys a lot of good reports, we are still taking on a 3v1 for the most part, right? We're not really failure oriented to the degree that we can outfill these three teams even to this like to an extreme degree, right? We were still managing to hold on, we were still managing to fill, but we are literally just drained, we're burnt out. A lot of our guys are logging off, especially after our victory at mid. A lot of our guys, I believe, kind of perceived that we had won and maybe logged off, so then we end up losing some towers towards the 7. And then we kind of get pushed back. They push us back a few towers. It starts to look very dire, so I do have a fallback point, which is going to be a singular tower that we can hold between the miasma's point in case we do end up getting pushed back until we can get our upper uptime, and then we can maybe coordinate better with our allies off this, right? But what ends up happening is we catch Moppy off guard. Amra is still fighting us. Their allies, Wolf, had already given up, so we were only taking a 2v1 at this point. But Amra has tried to build up. We were kind of slamming the towers a bit, right? They had started building towards our 7. They had dropped multiple towers on our 7. We had Saint run over there and constantly rally their towers. But the issue is we are literally burnt out on low fillers right now. And Amra is going ham on the field still. These guys had been going ham on the field. They had been going ham on fillers. They were taking extremely bad trades, right? And this isn't to, insult them in any way. This is like a freaking compliment. These guys were going absolutely berserk. They refused to give up. And I just give them all the respect in the world because honestly, I don't think I would have been able to do the same in that kind of situation. These guys were nonstop going at it, and I freaking give it to them. But they were constantly building towards our 7, trying to connect, and this they did end up connecting, right? Which still was very annoying because we did have to throw in a garrison captain there, which takes away from our normal captain and whatnot. We also have to devote a little bit of our field force over here because these guys are just constantly trying to push the field, so we can't just send in a rider rally with nobody on it, right? Even if Saint's very strong, they can still swarm out a rider. A rider's still a rider at the end of the day, so we are struggling over here. We are struggling on the Moppy side, and we, like I said, we get pushed back a few towers, but they do end up slipping up. What happens is they have a bad back tower, right? One of our towers are burning, and I think they kind of perceived that we had already given up. While one of our towers is burning, Saint ports in and just swarms out one of their towers, which had a semi decent garrison, but it was okay, right? It was okay. And he pops it. Basically, they end up kind of giving up some of their front towers. One of our guys comes down and they just two of our guys, I mean, right? They had started repairing this tower and they had a pretty decent garrison in there. They just ego swarmed it. Two of our players just ego swarmed the tower. It's already repairing. Our guys burn it. It's over. They just give up. I think they were demoralized. I think they were also kind of burnt out on just fillers as well. It was an insane fight. I give all the props to our enemies. This was a freaking masterclass. I haven't had so much fun in a while like this. I will say though, this was an extremely painful fight. I had situations where my hospital's filled and I was swarming towers and I was just like trying to avoid getting beamed on the field because I was just full hospital swarming a tower. I'm like, bro, maximize my deaths, please. Let's go, baby. But yeah, I mean, you see here, we kind of fallen back to this tower. What they're going to do is they're going to build a top tower in that little tiny slide. I think they're going to try to slide their way down, and try to slide in, kind of on us and stuff. I see what they were trying to do, but we had a like tower off to the left. I don't really record the swarm that goes on, but our guy, our guys do swarm it out, and they manage to pop the tower, which I think they end up giving up this top tower. They give up this left tower, and then once they see that back tower is kind of finished, I think they just give up completely. You also got to recognize that Mappy is Japanese, so this was already kind of becoming late hours for them, whereas it was becoming early hours for us. So their downtime was becoming our uptime, and we kind of were waking up for the most part. So, and you got to realize as well, by the way, this whole fight kind of happened in the middle of the night for us. So it was really not good at all. I don't know how we handled this as long as we did, how we held on as long as we did. I had stayed up only because I saw we were getting like kind of built on from three sides and I knew we were going to have a freaking intense fight. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys though for watching. You guys let me know what you guys think. That is going to be the end of the video. I do appreciate you guys for watching as always. I hope you guys had a great day or night. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That is about it. And peace out.